Hello fashionistas and welcome to eBooks for Fashion. So today I have the pleasure to interview one of my favorite fashion entrepreneur, Dessy Tsolova, the CEO and founder of Utelier.com. So Utelier is the fashion platform that you should join if you want to find the best fashion manufacturers, so the best manufacturers, the best contacts in the fashion industry. So today I have the pleasure to interview Dessy, and we're gonna talk about what is fashion today, what are the big challenges today in the fashion industry, and also how you can start your fashion business or how you can grow your fashion business. And also a little bit of the background of Dessy, because she's a very important fashion entrepreneur and she worked for many big brands like Burberry and many more. So you should really listen to what she can tell you about how to start the fashion business. So all her fashion business advices. So I don't want you to wait any longer, and let's start with the interview. For today, I just want to have an interview with Dessy Tsolova from Utelier, CEO and founder of Utelier.com. So I would like to thank you, Dessy, for being here and to share your experience with us, with the Books for Fashion. And so thank you so much for being here, Dessy.
Asking me to participate, to join you.
So, Dessy, what is Utelier about? Tell a little bit about your story and why you have started Utelier. What is the platform about?
Okay, so my story is that I was in fashion for about 15 years. I graduated fashion design and business, and I worked for smaller and larger luxury brands primarily, managing the design teams from idea to development to production to even delivery inside the stores, the training, PR, marketing. So during the course of the 15 years, I've gotten involved in absolutely every aspect of running a business. And through all the years, I was always asked by friends of a friend, if I can, recommend them a factory because someone had an idea, but they didn't know how to start, where to go, etc. And that, together with the frustration of working in the industry and seeing the problems that were existing, the lack of transparency, the lack of trust, the bad communication, all of this together made me in 2014 leave, the last place I was working at, the luxury brand, and set up an online platform with the mission to basically bring transparency, improve the trust and communication in the industry, and create a one-stop marketplace or a platform where people with ideas can execute them, whether that is through finding connections or education or the actual end-to-end process.
Okay, that's amazing, because I think that there is no place where we can find all the manufacturers and the content. So your idea is brilliant, and the platform really helps all the designers and the people working in the fashion industry. Because
there's more and more competitors. There's more and more places coming up with, contacts. Supposedly, some of them work as consultancies. Really, they're just a front. But what we offer is we offer a curated global list of manufacturers, designers, and specialists in the industry, in the fashion industry, that have been checked by us. That they have more detailed information with regards to what they do, what they specialize in, what their minimums are, and in this way, we save time for people trying to Google and go from one directory to another and figuring out, with lots of phone calls, who's doing what. So we aim to bring transparency and make it easier for people to find very quickly the right partner for them.
Exactly. This is, I think, is so brilliant, and it's something that was really missing in the fashion industry, because a few years ago, if I just remember when I was doing my collection of clothes before the jewelry, it was always by words of mouth, and I didn't know, even if I was in Italy, and there were lots of manufacturers before, more than now, of course, and it was everything by words of mouth, or it was difficult to find, or you had to move yourself going to lots of trade fairs, trade show. And I think this is a very, it's challenging for a designer, especially if you have a small business, because you have to travel, to spend lots of money to go to a place or to another. And now instead with Utelier, it's the great opportunity for all the designers and the industry specialists to connect each other and to grow their business together more easy than before, of course.
Yeah.
So this is really, really good. And so apart from the manufacturers, who else can join Utelier? How can Utelier can help other people in the fashion industry?
So at the moment, anyone who provides a service, who is a business or a freelance designer and providing a service to people who have ideas and they're looking to make them happen, can join our platform. We have over 2,000 members, like I said, who are freelance designers, manufacturers, suppliers, and specialists, industry specialists, also very difficult to come by, like pattern cutters, sewing machinists, etc. So anyone can join just by registering and creating a free profile.
Yes.
And basically, our profiles are almost like a mini website page where, we give them an opportunity to, via images and words, to basically put their best foot forward to really sell themselves. And there's an opportunity for them to stand apart from other people in the space.
Yes, that's great. And this is something that we can also explain to fashion designers if they want also to work with other people, that they need someone also to sketch their ideas. They can also, apart from finding manufacturers for them, they can also sell and promote their services.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they can contact anyone with an idea who is worried that they can't visually communicate the idea. They can contact a fashion designer and ask them for, flat drawings, technical drawings. All these fashion designers that we have, they not only design, but they're willing and offering services that are to do with design, but not necessarily the actual idea development.
Absolutely.
Or coming up with new ideas, yeah.
Yes, that's absolutely brilliant. And so Utelier is a revolutionary platform in the fashion industry. How do you see Utelier in 10 years?
Interesting question. We have gone into the tech space as a platform.
Yeah.
We have moved away from just being a directory. We recently launched a software service called Spec, which is the creation of technical packs, which obviously is the common language between a designer or a brand and the factory. So again, with this software, we are trying to make the industry transparent and to improve the trust in the communication. And basically, we are creating a standard common language between the two parties, so that we save time and money in the process. So the way I see us evolving is by, in 10 years' time, I hope that we are a one-stop platform where you can come with the idea, execute it, get educated, not only how to start if you're a new fashionpreneur, but also if you're growing and scaling, just to, read other experiences and advice and gain knowledge how to progress with your business, as well as use our marketplace through which you can manufacture through the platform in a safe environment, create your technical pack sheets, everything. So I see us growing to become a one-stop fashion platform for idea to end product.
I love that. I think this is amazing because you can be everywhere in the world. You can be working from your home and you don't have to to get crazy. Everything will be there. So Utelier will be the one-stop platform for everything you need in the fashion industry for your connection. So I think this is just amazing, and we are so lucky to have something like that. So this is absolutely brilliant. And so what was your biggest challenge launching Utelier in the fashion industry when you started? What was your biggest challenge?
God, I mean, the challenges are numerous, and they're all the same and they change all the time. But one of the biggest challenges perhaps is having to, the idea of automating something that is very manual. So
Yes.
until now, for technical sheets, we've been using Excel. Everyone is used to Excel. They move with their, USB stick, their Excel template from job to job. When they look something, they Google, they call, but there is no end-to-end automated way of developing your idea and working with the factory. Everything is via email. And for anyone who has worked in the industry would know that, emails tend to be heavy with a lot of attachments. If you're looking for something from a past season, is a nightmare. So the challenge of automating that process, this very manual process, is it's a real challenge every day. Another challenge we have is actually living in the UK, I take for granted how technically advanced we are as a country, but actually talking to other manufacturers and partners and getting them to join our platform sometimes is a challenge. They don't understand why creating a profile is for free at the moment, for instance, why they should join, what's in it for them. Overcoming those different cultural challenges is it's another challenge that we face daily.
Yes. I believe that because maybe people they still don't understand how can everything can be in the digital world, and they are still thinking of something different, and then maybe it's new, so maybe something it's difficult.
I mean, the manufacturing industry is still really needs to move forward and join the 21st century. It slowly is getting there as the old guard perhaps is changing to the new generation of owners. But by and large, the mentality is very old-fashioned. So, that is a challenge in itself. Another challenge is all the new people that are coming into the industry and who don't really know how the industry works. And so they're joining, quite a dysfunctional industry. And they bring even more dysfunctionality. So having to, catch them early and teach them, how to behave better, how to communicate better, etc. And that is another interesting challenge.
Exactly. I totally agree. Yes. And could you tell us a little bit more about your background in the past in the fashion industry as a jewelry designer? That I know that you are also a jewelry designer, but also working in the fashion industry in general, for your experience before launching Utelier. What did you like? What did you dislike?
I basically trained as a fashion designer, but almost as soon as I graduated, I realized that I actually didn't want to design. I did not want to design under pressure for someone else's expectations. So I joined a very small brand where I joined as an assistant designer, but I actually did absolutely everything from sourcing to selling to packing to ironing, to marketing. I mean, everything I did. And then I moved on to a bigger brand, to Burberry actually, where I actually was hired as a product developer. And that's when I fell in love with product development. I realized that I can be creative by taking someone else's idea and executing it, but also improving it as part of the execution. And I really enjoyed, the process of finding factories and keeping in touch with them, learning about new processes. And so my career then went more into the product development and production, channel rather than just design, but always linked to creativity. So always working with designers and developing their ideas.
Yes, I totally love that.
Yeah, but as I was growing, and moving from position to position and growing up the corporate ladder, you lose, a certain amount of creativity. The higher you go, the less creative, you are. And that is where I had an opportunity. I had a ring that was very precious to me. That was a very unique carved emerald ring, and I lost it 1 year. And that sent me on a little journey to India to find a replacement.
So you basically, because of the problem that you lose your ring, you went to India, and then you started to get in love with jewelry. So
I was always in love with jewelry, but being there and all of a sudden being allowed to create just for myself without the pressure and expectation of someone else, and just to create what I wanted, and then seeing other people like it and and buying it. It just allowed me without the pressure of timelines, without the pressure of seasons, etc. Just it became my little creative side outlet.
Absolutely.
But the funny thing is that very quickly you start thinking of it, can it become a business? You start
Yes.
joining the bigger machine of seasons, collections, etc. And I started realizing as I was getting more and more involved in the jewelry industry, how actually um, backward it was in terms of process thinking,
Yes.
setup, and the big challenges. And I almost came to a point where I fell out of love with it. I just didn't even want to go to any more fairs and meet any more
Yes.
people. And
Exactly.
um, so I've come to a very nice stage where, because I'm so busy with building Utelier, the jewelry is on the background, but I very much just do personal orders for clients
Yes.
who want something special. And I have some stock that I sell that I can replace, etc. But very much I focus on one-off pieces. It's really more of a hobby, which one day I
Yes.
hope to become more of a business. But I think one person changing a whole industry's mentality it's a big challenge. So,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And what do you think is missing right now in the fashion industry?
so I think that right now is more than ever, and I think this missing thing is probably it has been going on for decades. But I think that lack of respect. I think that there's a real
Yeah.
lack of respect between designers and brands and people and the actual manufacturers. We live at an age where we are constantly chasing the big next bargain. We want fast fashion, etc., and no one seems to be appreciating the hard work that manufacturers or the idea development takes. It takes time to develop a good idea. It takes time and money and effort to create a beautiful product. And so I think that respect for the labor, for the
Yeah.
idea, for the creativity, for the workmanship is really missing. And I'm not quite sure how we can get it back.
Yeah.
It seems like there's this like fast train of fast fashion that
Yes.
everyone's jumped on, and there's a small minority of people trying to really slow it down and move it into sustainability, ethics, etc. And I'm just, not really sure when the two
Yes.
things.
Yes, I totally agree because everything it seems to go so fast, and that there's no, as you said, that is said very, very well said, that there's no respect for the artisanal work, for the craftsmanship. So everything it looks too fast. Instead, we
Yeah.
should go back to that
I mean,
the love for the work.
yeah,
And
I
the
think the whole industry
appreciation.
together has to change,
Yes.
rather than we've seen individual people like Tom Ford,
Yeah.
moving away from seasons, saying no more seasons. I will present when I present. Burberry, etc. A few individual people coming up with some new models,
Yeah.
but they fizzle out. I almost am starting to think that they're more of a marketing ploy rather than a new, real, desire to change the industry.
Exactly.
So I think the whole industry as a whole has to drive the change rather than individual people.
Yes, absolutely. And so, what do you think are the best advices that you can give to someone that is starting a fashion business?
Well, it's funny. I do a lot of mentoring of young people who are and
Yeah.
not so young, who are wanting to start
Yeah.
a fashion brand. And the most common mistake that I see, which would be my advice,
Yeah.
is they start without knowing, first of all, why they're launching.
Yeah.
They want to launch a brand. I mean,
Yes.
what is the real, just saying, oh, I can't find something on the market is not a reason, because everything exists. Like, the market does not
Absolutely.
miss anything.
Yes,
In my
absolutely.
so knowing why you're starting is the core value that's going to drive you through the tough times, because launching a fashion business, it's as you probably know, it's so tough, and you
Absolutely.
really need to have stamina and a lot of cash to endure it, and to
Yeah.
survive.
Yes.
So knowing why, but then, doing your research. Just because you have one wonderful idea doesn't mean that there's a market for it, doesn't mean that there's a customer, or maybe there is, but people don't spend time to research it and find it.
Yeah.
My
Exactly.
advice would be to know why you're wanting to launch
Yeah.
it. Could you do something better with your time and money? Isn't
Yeah.
this like the only thing that your passion that you really want to do? And who is your customer? Who is your market? And just really making sure that there is a customer and market for your idea, and testing, start before you're ready almost, and test your idea before you actually plow so much money and time to launch something, then just fizzles,
Yes.
and that doesn't go anywhere.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, because sometimes when you start your fashion business, you start because you have a passion for fashion, but instead you don't know
It's
your
just not,
deep
yeah, it's
why,
just
and
not
it's
enough.
not
Yeah,
enough.
no,
There are so many things to consider, and
yeah.
even myself, when I started, I think I was too optimistic, and I was not when I started more than 10 years ago. I was thinking that everything was so easy to start and to grow the business, but unfortunately it's not. There are lots of things to consider, and so you have to be very careful and to create a very strong plan for your business if you want to go on.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
the other thing is that people seem to, as soon as they enter fashion, they seem to lose their common sense.
Yes.
So keeping hold of that common sense and using it, through your journey, whether it's a short or a long one,
Yes.
and relying on that common sense, it's like my top advice, I guess. It's
Yes.
just really important.
Absolutely. And instead, what would you like to suggest as your advice for someone that is in the business for a while, and he or she wants to grow or scale their business in fashion?
So I think again, common sense
Yes,
and research and not rushing. I think people, designers and brands, when they're inside and when you perhaps when you see your sales taper off, or there's not enough sales, or you're
yeah,
under pressure to grow for whatever reason, sometimes we forget that creating a brand is a marathon and not a race.
yes,
So we need to go slow at it. And very often, I mean, I certainly have been in this situation where when you share with people your challenges, friends, family, etc., they give you ideas. Everyone's got ideas.
yeah,
And so cutting out that noise, cutting it
yes,
out, and just, and really listening to yourself, because no one knows the industry and the business you're in than yourself. And
absolutely.
and going slowly at it would be my advice, because if you listen to everyone, all of a sudden you're jumping. 1 minute you're doing this, next minute you're doing that. So many brands I saw, for instance, jump on the accessories bandwagon a few years ago. Everyone was saying accessories is the
Yes,
biggest growing category, and everyone who was doing clothes all of a sudden wanted to be a bag designer, an accessories designer.
yes,
But they committed so much time and money in launching collections that they just didn't know how to sell, because you have to sell it in a different way.
yeah,
So they failed. They ended up, discontinuing these collections or
absolutely.
launching sub brands and then stopping them. And it's all because of this rush, because of listening to people give ideas without actually listening to yourself and thinking, why am I doing this? What is my brand about? Who is my customer?
Absolutely.
So,
It looks like people are always afraid not to have to create enough products. Instead, there are
yeah,
so many products already, so you
yeah,
have to really use your common sense and
yeah,
understand better what you are doing,
yeah.
and not, and you said totally right, to cut the noise of what other people are suggesting you, because only you can understand what is good for your fashion business, and not.
Or customer, just ask your customer, talk to your
Exactly,
customer.
exactly,
Uh,
absolutely. It's much
I mean,
better.
years ago, funnily enough, I fell into the same trap when the recession started soon after I
Yeah,
launched my jewelry brand. I met with a few people to take their advice as
yeah,
to, because the noise around me was
yeah,
going to silver, stop with this expensive gold into silver, silver, silver. And I don't like silver, but
yeah,
I met with a few people who said to me, yes, I mean, admittedly, they were probably in retrospect the wrong people, but they said, yes, silver, you should go into silver, you should diversify. So I created silver collections, which I didn't really like, and I
yeah,
ended up not selling. Even when people wanted to order it, I ended up not following up and not selling it to them, because I just did not.
yeah,
um,
yeah. Because it was not for you, and you
and it
didn't
wasn't,
feel
yeah,
your
yeah.
the
So it
silver jewelry.
the reason, the why of my brand, it didn't, it didn't resonate with why I started my jewelry, what I wanted my
Absolutely,
brand to be about. Silver wasn't part of it. Um,
exactly.
so again, I mean, I wasted so much time designing, sampling,
Yeah,
producing, etc. Something that ultimately did not go forward, because I listen to the noise rather than just, close it off, focus, and listen to myself and just ride out the storm, because
Absolutely.
what goes up must come down, and
Yeah,
there's recessions and there's boom times, and sometimes you just have to just ride it out.
absolutely. And just one question more. So you are now a very successful fashion entrepreneur, and I would like to know, what is the success for you? What do you,
Well,
one thing that you love about your success right now?
I mean, I think success means different things for different people. I think
Yeah,
where I am now, what I really like about my position is the flexibility to, own my day. That I can
yeah,
come a little bit late and drop off my kids to school,
yeah,
and then work late in the evening after they have gone to bed. So that is something that when I worked for, brands and companies, I didn't have the opportunity to do.
yeah,
But success, I think, for everyone is different, and it
yeah,
changes as you evolve as a person. Right now, success means to me, if I manage to manage my work and life better.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not even talking about the balance, because I think that there is no balance. I
No,
mean, when you run
yeah,
your own business, it's impossible to switch off. And stop thinking about all the problems and check your emails, etc. But managing that, and and getting more of an equilibrium on some
yeah.
days, it's what success is these days to me.
I know it's not easy, but success, it's important that step by step we find a balance
Yeah,
in
yeah,
everything of life and work all together. But
yeah.
I love the idea of success that you have. I really agree. And so, just last question. So, Desi, where people can find you? Give some links where they can find you. Hotelier.com. We know the website. Is any other place that would you like people to
I
check?
mean, we have we're present on all the social media channels, but the one that we are most committed to is Instagram. So we can be
Okay.
found on Instagram, or at Utelier.
Yes.
And through our platform media channels, you can find us on Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook. But the single channel we are most committed to and most present is Instagram, because fashion is very visual, and
Yeah.
it allows us to almost create like micro blogs. So Instagram, and our main platform, utelier.com, via which you can find our blog called Insider, are the two places where we are most active and responsive.
Okay, perfect. So anyway, we'll put all the links below the video, and so people can join you in everywhere on the social media and on the blog platform. So
Mm.
thank you so much, Desi, for
No,
this
yeah,
interview. I really appreciate it. It was amazing. There's lots of valuable information, and so I hope people can join Hotelier and really get in contact with lots of people in the industry. Thank you so much,
great.
really.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed the interview, guys. And if you are really serious about how to start your fashion business, you should join the wait list of Start for Fashion. So, my new online course, which is all about how to start the right fashion business, whether you want to start a fashion service or a fashion product business. So, you can find all the links in the show notes, so below this video, and in below the show notes as well. And you can find all the information about Hotelier as well, hotelier.com as well. So everything I will put in the show notes. And as usual, if you have any questions, please write to me to info@ebooksforfashion.com. So I hope you really enjoyed the interview. It was a real pleasure for me to interview Dessy from utelier.com, and I see you next week. Bye for now.